Thought Bubble Audio.
Look, up in the sky!
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Welcome to Beer with Geeks with Tim and Frank.
Who are you?
I'm Batman.
I am Iron Man.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Hi, Christopher. I'm Nero.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
You're a wizard, Harry.
A couple of guys with a couple of beers and a whole lot of pop culture nostalgia.
Make it so, number one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
I named the dog Indiana.
Life finds a way.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now sit back and crack open a cold one, because it's time for Beer with Geeks.
It comes in paints.
Shaken, not stirred.
Great Scott!
I was way off. I knew it started with an S, though.
Hi, and welcome to Beer with Geeks, where two geeks geek out with beer. I'm Tim, and with me, as always, is my man who loves to make a good list. Frank, how are you today?
I'm feeling a little under the weather, but I do love a good list. I do love, making choices, having to narrow things down to a favorite. These are things that longtime listeners of Beer with Geeks will know are just the hallmarks of myself. So, yes, I'm thrilled about this.
Yeah, I think that it's actually in your doctor's note for ways for Frank to get better. It's like make a list, check it twice, make sure he picks a favorite. These are the things that will make him get better.
Definitely. No anxiety happens here. None whatsoever. Nope, not this guy. Move along.
Nope, heart palpitations definitely don't increase.
No.
But speaking of heart palpitations, Frank, that would be a great segue if I wasn't going to ask you what you were drinking. Dang it. That would have been amazing. Oh, well. Hold that thought with the heart palpitations. Frank, what are you drinking? Are you drinking something that's not orange juice because you're sick?
I am drinking something that's not orange juice, yes. I am drinking a hot toddy, homemade hot toddy,
nice.
with Jim Beam bourbon and Bigelow green tea.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Should put me right to sleep.
I wish that's kind of what I was drinking.
Yeah.
Well, as long as I don't put the one that puts you to sleep, I don't care what you do to get there. Yeah.
I'm feeling a little under the weather. I just figured I'd have an appropriate cocktail. So forgive me for putting the beer down, but I think I have.
Yeah, I think you have a great reason. I am drinking a HAMR from Revival Brewing Company. It is an Oceanic State Pale Ale. It's got the hammerhead shark on the front, like the Jaws.
Love that can
poster. Love this can as well. It is super, super fun. Okay, now, Frank.
Yes.
Going back to my heart palpitations thingy that I was going to say earlier.
Yes.
We had decided that we were going to talk about what are like the three people that if you could meet them, they have to be alive, in real life, that you would just lose your poop over. That you just, this segment is now called "What Happened to My Poop." Like you would just lose your poop over and be like, it's gone. It's completely gone. It's not even in my pants. And you would think it would rest there, but it isn't because it's just evaporated. I'm so excited to meet you. And then they're like, wow, you're weird. Why did you tell me all of that? And maybe some of them were like, me too. I'm so excited to meet you too, internet celebrity Frank Ramblings.
Yeah,
Frank's
sure.
head promptly explodes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I asked you to kind of come up with a three people that you would just lose your mind over meeting in whatever way it happens, and then what is it about that person that would make you lose your mind? Why that person particularly? Because there are a lot of people that I would love to meet and shake their hand, but I wouldn't necessarily lose like control of my intestinal matter. Okay, so
sure, no involuntary bowel movements for most people, but there's a select handful that will trigger that. Do you want me to kick it off?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why not?
Okay. I'm just gonna go with the most obvious one for me. I think most people who know me know just how obsessed I am with the Beatles. And so the obvious choice.
Thought you were going to say the Spice Girls. I know you so well. It's
well.
obviously Posh Spice.
Clearly,
that you can't
yes.
wait to meet. Wait. Okay. So anyway, sorry. Continue.
I would. It's hard to choose, but as always, TM trademark Frank Ramblings. But I would go with Sir Paul McCartney. Sir Paul McCartney would be my number one choice. The number one, like the person that I would not even know how to prepare to meet. I'd be like, I don't know what to do with my hands. What do I say? What you know very well that my go-to strategy for so many situations is to
great strategy
compliment somebody on something obscure that they've done that I like. But he's done nothing obscure, so what do I? That leaves me with nothing. That leaves me with nothing but the most obvious and popular art ever created. So it's kind of a funny situation because I don't know what I would compliment him on. So with all that said, that's what I would lose my mind over. I would definitely want a picture. And I don't know. I'd like to think that I'd come up with some sort of clever question to ask or clever reference to make. But he's also done so much that I figure he'd be like, I don't know. Oh, is that a song I wrote? I don't know. I've written so many that I don't know. If I went too deep in the catalog, he might be like, what's that?
I wonder if he has met so many people over time that you would even like get to something like that. You would be like, oh, I love this obscure song, whatever it is.
Sure.
And he would be like, do you really? Or
are you just
saying
a poser? That? Yeah. Oh, that's a funny idea.
Are you posing?
Yeah.
Like, do you actually love this? Or are you saying that because, you're trying something out?
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I have heard Dana Carvey met him on a couple of different occasions at like SNL when Dana Carvey was on SNL and then at some other events and things, anniversaries and stuff like that. And he said that Dana Carvey's a huge Beatles fan. He went real deep on some questions from the Beatles era, and apparently Paul remembered a lot of it. Told him some stories behind songs and stuff. Stuff
that's cool.
To my knowledge, hasn't been done in other interviews that I've heard elsewhere. So pretty cool stuff. Anyway, that's the extent of my Beatle nerdery for now. Paul McCartney is my number one pick. Who is your number one guy or girl?
Or girl. It could be a girl.
Could be.
Yeah. You are my number one, and it's not Jack Nicholson. That is my number one. I would lose my poop over George Lucas.
Oh, that was one of mine. Yeah, absolutely.
Was it? Okay. Yeah, I was wondering if George Lucas would be one of your people, and I was right. Yeah,
for
that's
sure.
Something we have in common. I wouldn't know how to approach George Lucas in the same way that he wouldn't know how to approach me.
Mr. Gannett, I'm your biggest fan.
I
feel that
I see you're wearing flannel, and I'm also wearing flannel, and I guess we could be friends because I like movies.
I really liked that episode of Read Up where you talked about Artemis because I didn't really get it either. So I I really admire your work.
Yeah, they were just trying to be realistic science fiction, but I did that with THX 1138, and we don't need to really do anything else after that.
That's why I'm retired.
I mean, my neck parasite is gone. Yeah, retirement got rid of it for me.
An encounter with George Lucas. A Beer with Geeks exclusive.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. We're missing out. All right. So anyway, I think I would lose. I mean, I love Star Wars. Obviously, you love Star Wars. A lot of the world loves.
I like Star Wars too.
I like James Earl Jones even loves Star Wars.
Who doesn't?
I like Star Wars too. But like I deep dive on George Lucas. Like I've read the biography, and I think I would freak out not just because of Star Wars, but because he's an important and affluent filmmaker, and how he's kind of pushed filmmaking forward, not just in Star Wars, but in Skywalker Ranch and THX and Lucasfilm and Skywalker Sound and like all of this stuff. in like kind of giving autonomy to the filmmaker to make great film. And then like his stuff, like his editing stuff, and then I guess THX 1138 would be a kind of like a what would you call it? It would be
like the obscure thing to compliment.
The obscure thing to compliment.
In a way, yeah, it would be. It's probably the most obscure thing that there is, right? Like what else? What else are you
honestly,
gonna do?
I think American Graffiti is slightly
more underground.
Maybe more underground. Well, THX 1138 is the thing that gets like touted, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's famous for like, or like you see it on the backs of the droids and everything like that. But I wonder if he gets credit for I wonder if he gets credit for making it.
I don't know.
In the way, because it's generally heralded as like here's this great film.
Sure.
Like, George Lucas could have done anything he wanted after American Graffiti.
Right.
People like, and then he went and did Star Wars, and people were like, "You're making a space movie?"
Yeah.
Like, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm making a space movie." Although he didn't say it like that. It's George Lucas.
Making a space movie.
Making a space movie. It's going to be the lasers and the laser swords, but they're called lightsabers, and I knew that then, and I don't know it now because I'm retired. Anyway, Anyway, yeah, man, I love George Lucas, and he actually just genuinely seems like a nice person, and I kind of I want to meet nice people because I don't want to be disappointed by meeting some of my heroes.
Yeah.
So
he does seem like he'd be a nice guy. He does seem down to earth. And I think that's the reason why he comes off as a curmudgeon nowadays, I think, is because he is just so normal and there's so much like poop happening around him, to borrow your phrase. There's so much poop happening around him that he's just like, Disney's terrible. I hate everything. Like
it sounds a little bit like the Penguin, if you really think about it. Yeah,
every one of them has a mother. But yeah, I feel like I've not seen. I feel like the most obscure thing you could probably compliment George Lucas on is probably Red Tails. I've not seen it.
Oh yeah, actually, good point.
Was it good?
Like,
Have you
love
seen it?
No, I did not see it. Actually, I heard it was so bad that I kind of don't want to like ruin.
I've heard it wasn't great, but I know it was such a passion project for him that I feel like had I seen it and if I enjoyed it, that's probably the thing I would lead with, because it's something that he doesn't hear a lot about, wasn't well received. That or like Radioland Murders, I guess. But there's not a lot that he's done that's not, somewhat successful.
That's true, but I feel like because American Graffiti is important, but people don't talk about it.
Yes,
I think that would be like a good combo.
I don't disagree.
Blend.
I don't disagree. And it's one that's culturally significant, has staying power, I should say, for so many years, for 40 years, 40 plus years.
Yeah, but I do think you're right in that Red Tails would probably be the thing that would like almost make him take a step back.
That's it. If I had something to say about it, I wish I'd seen it because then I'd have something to say. If I had something to say about it, that's probably the thing that would catch his attention more, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah,
I think you're right. All right, your next one, sir.
Okay, so I gave this a lot of thought, as you might imagine. And
unlike me, who literally wrote this like on a pad down before we started.
I hate you so much.
Oh yeah, these are the ones that come to my mind. Great. Okay, done.
I wish it was that easy.
Yeah.
The next one I'm going to go with is Sir Patrick Stewart.
Whoa! Did not expect that.
I know.
Really?
Well, okay. Here's the thing.
The Stewie? Wow.
Yeah. I would have gone with Leonard Nimoy. And then yes, believe it or not, I actually did after having to eliminate him because we said only folks who are living. I thought about William Shatner, but he's become such a caricature of himself in so many ways. That I think if I met Sir Patrick Stewart, I would actually have a bigger reaction because he, in recent years, has really come to like have an appreciation for the roles that he's played that have had an impact on people. Where I feel like Shatner's like head got really big, and I feel like Stewart's heart got really big.
Yeah,
he got a heart on, if you will.
Yes, that is a wonderful, wonderful way of putting it. and honestly, I mean, I've not met Shatner, but people don't say nice things about Shatner. Right?
That's true.
Really, they just don't. They never have a lot. Really, I've seen him talk, but I've not I went to a showing of Khan on the big screen. I think it was Khan, and then he came out and did a thing afterwards. And you saw George Takei do the same thing.
That's right.
Which is hilarious that the both of them are doing the same movie.
I know.
And that they're just like, oh, you're talking about that movie? Well, I'll also talk about this movie.
I know.
Like, just do it together, you fools. You'd sell out the house.
It's the one that is the most universally acclaimed, right? So it's the obvious pick if you're going to take a Star Trek movie on the road.
I would love it if they picked a weird one. Like if he did I don't know, the one with the whales, which one, whatever
Star Trek 4.
Called. Star Trek 4,
The Voyage Home.
Voyage Home, Homeward Bound, right, exactly. Star Trek 4, Homeward Bound. Voyage Homeward Bound. I would love it. He was like, yeah, you want to come see me? Also watch this very mediocre Star Trek film. Although it's not that one that's mediocre. It's Search for Spock.
Search for Spock, number 3. That one's very mediocre.
Mm-hmm.
I rather enjoy Voyage Home. I think that's a lot of fun. It's not a particularly good movie, but it's very funny, and it's a ton of fun.
Sometimes I'll take very funny.
Oh yeah,
I'm good with funny.
Yeah, it has that going for it in spades. Great.
That's good. That's really good. That's a great choice. So why Sir Patrick Stewart? Besides the fact that he has a heart, is there what piece would you bring to Sir Patrick Stew and be like, hey?
That's another one, right? That's another one where his work is too well known, well regarded. I would either do. I hadn't really thought about that. But what I would either do is his Hamlet TV movie, from the mid 2000s, or so, or maybe his appearance on Extras.
Oh yeah, he's so good in that.
Yeah.
He's so funny.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Those are two things that I mean, I don't know. Maybe he gets that a lot on about Extras, maybe, and certainly about Shakespeare in general. But those are two things. Those are two of the non-Star Trek, non-X-Men things that I really enjoyed him in. That I could talk about eloquently for more than a minute.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
So that's what I'd probably go with. What what else is there, right? Not what else is there. He's done a ton, but what else is there that I've really imprinted on? Those are really the two things that stand out to me the most.
I think those are solid. Sir Patrick Stew. I might bring The Lion in Winter to him.
Ooh, okay.
Because that he was Henry II, and Glenn Close was his wife there. Can't remember her name, but it's excellent. Not as good as the original, so maybe I wouldn't. I want to be like, you're not as good as Peter O'Toole. However,
let's just start that conversation there. All right, Sir Patrick. First of all, you're not as good as Peter O'Toole. Okay, Peter up here, Patrick down here. Just a level set. That said, you were an okay Richard. You were fine.
You were okay,
adequate.
Henry.
You were maybe not Sir Patrick Stewart. You were like Mr. Patrick Stewart in that movie. You were fine. You were serviceable.
Yeah, maybe I wouldn't go there. Yeah, probably not.
But
although
anyway,
I mean, he was
Peter
very
O'Toole
good.
was fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's talk about him. What are your
Let's
feelings
talk about
on Peter
you.
O'Toole?
That ballroom. Peter O'Toole is in that ballroom, but you are over here in this section over here. You're in ballroom B, and Peter O'Toole is in Hall H.
I would say ballroom X, just to keep it appropriate.
Yeah, that's good.
For him. Man. No, I'd be like, what was it like to wear those footy pajamas in season 1 of The Next Generation? Was it your back?
Oh, that's good. I like that. Oh man. All right, I'm ready for my next. I'm ready for my close up.
For my next pick, yeah.
For my next pick. This was not in my when I was going through, and I was like, "Ooh, this would be good. This would be good." This is not in my original lineup, but I had to scratch a few out because I think I would actually flip over this. Is Ian McKellen to go off of your Sir Patrick Stew?
Nice.
I would flip because Ian McKellen, more than what my original pick was, I legitimately follow his career as in oh, he's in a movie, I'm going to see it. And that I don't do that with many actors. I'll do it more with directors. I will say like, oh, this director's coming out with a film. I will see it because I really enjoy their work. But he is an actor I will watch literally anything in. He is just everything. He is Magneto and Gandalf. Like I can't give more than that.
Honestly, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And for my obscure piece, he's just there's so much goodness right there that I'm not exactly sure what I would pick that I would say is super obscure. Stuff that maybe he's not well remembered for. Like I love The Shadow. He plays Margot Lane's dad, Dr. Lane, in The Shadow.
Okay.
But I wouldn't say that's like a great piece of work from him. It's good.
Sure.
He's excellent because he's Ian McKellen. I'd probably say Apt Pupil. Yeah, which is a Bryan Singer film. Do you ever see Apt Pupil?
No, I haven't, but I'm aware of it.
Okay, yeah. For those who don't know, it's about a movie. It's a movie. It's not about a movie. It is a movie adapted from a Stephen King short story in which a kid finds out there's a Nazi living in his town, like an elderly Nazi living in his small suburban town in America, and the kid blackmails him to teach him about Nazism.
Wow.
That like you wouldn't learn in the history books. Otherwise, he'll like turn his name into the police because he's obviously wanted for war crimes because he's a Nazi. And the guy played by Ian McKellen slowly starts to kind of indoctrinate him, like while the kid. That's
heavy.
It's so heavy, and it is horrifying, and it's real good. Would recommend. And Ian McKellen is terrific in that, and that's pre-Gandalf, pre-Magneto. And I think that would be clutch, like go for the thing where before they were super famous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think those would be my pieces. Maybe Gods and Monsters, Richard III, something like that.
Okay.
But Ian McKellen would lose would lose my poop.
I cannot blame you on that one. That's an excellent pick. That is that definitely belongs in the annals of losing your poop because he's up there. He's up there on the list of just people who are like objectively, make you lose your poop.
What if we could meet Sir Patrick Stewart and Sir Ian McKellen together at the same time? How much poop would be gone?
We would be a lot like they are when they hang out.
Yeah. We are a lot.
We
like
are. That's why I said wow. I was like, wait a second. We kind of are already. That's
they're
kind
just
of
2 generations above us. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They're just like the greatest generation version of us. Really.
That's fun. I like that.
I like that. So, or are we? No, really. Let's give them credit where credit is due. We are the millennial version of them. They were the originals.
They are the originals. Right. Agreed.
And then there was Statler and Waldorf, and then there was us. So
I'm really enjoying this podcast. Well, it's almost over. That's why I'm enjoying it.
That was great. That was good.
All right,
quick.
Your last pick, sir.
My last pick, sir. This is a sentimental pick because I
love you for sentimental reasons.
Yep. But I would I think that Julie Andrews would make me lose my poop.
Julie Andrews. I would also lose my poop for Julie Andrews.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. What a great pick.
Yeah. Yeah. That is one that like she has been in so many classics that meant so much to me growing up, even at times when I didn't know it was Julie Andrews, right? Like for the longest time, I don't know if I realized that Maria von Trapp and Mary Poppins and Cinderella were the same person. Like I don't think I realized those things for when I was very, very little. And so she's just like sort of been woven throughout, and has had like such staying power to where she then, kind of made still makes appearances in major films, and like Princess Diaries kind of gave her a little moment being in the spotlight again, and then even her cameo in Aquaman made some headlines and got people thinking about her again. Like she's still very, very much around and active and present, and we talked about her when we talked about Disney Plus shows. Would she make any kind of appearance in the Princess Diaries show that's coming?
So the show?
Oh,
or
I'm
a
sorry.
new
It's a sequel.
film?
It's a sequel. Sorry.
Oh, it's just okay.
My bad.
So
My bad.
Okay. I was curious. I didn't know.
No,
thought my
I
information
realized
was wrong.
as soon as you. Yeah, that was my error. But yeah, it's she has touched so many people over so many generations. That it would be hard to narrow it down again to just like one obscure thing. I might go with something like Cinderella just because, probably something like Cinderella just because I feel like it's something she doesn't hear as much about because it was like the TV broadcast from like the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
That still gets played on PBS every so often and so forth. But
I bet she doesn't hear about Victor Victoria as much as she wished she would.
I bet that's true. I bet you're very right about that.
Yeah,
yeah,
because that movie made her lose her voice.
Right.
So
right.
or almost lose her voice. So like, I bet that that would be good for like, hey, your work is appreciated.
Yeah, that's right. It was worth the struggle. It was worth the sacrifice.
That's right. Your work on Aquaman, genius.
Brilliant.
Genius.
Unparalleled.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Genius.
That would be a harder sell. But I feel like both of those would be very, very good submissions for what to say to Julie Andrews. Yep.
Wow, that's good. Wow, I almost want to change my answer because of that. But I won't. I will stick to my guns. And maybe if you have any floating around in the back of your brain, you can do a quick. We can do a quick like also these people.
Yeah,
but I would lose poop over Stephen King. Would be my last
good
one.
Good one. Yep.
Yeah. I think I have. Oh my gosh, I have so many. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 of his books just staring at me in my office right now. Like,
wow,
right
you do that
above
quick,
me.
dude. You're just like looking up over your computer and you're like, yeah, right here. This is what I have right here.
This is what I have right here, and some are in the other room. And yeah, I've seen him talk. But I've never met him, and he just seems like a delightful man. And he's very down to earth and hilarious. And I think that I think we would get along, which is why I think I would lose my poop but be able to maintain my cool, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
Because he's so chill himself, he exudes regular Joe with his like t-shirt and his baseball hat and whatever else. He's not like, he doesn't, because he's a writer, I guess he doesn't exude famous or star or star power. Kind of like George Lucas that way.
Yeah, kind of. He's got a humility and an unassuming nature about him that, like, you wouldn't know he was famous watching him walk down the street. He is a regular Joe, like you said. Yeah.
Right. No, I mean, if anybody's been to Bangor, you know that humility does kind of like stays within him because it is not much to look at. Really, it is really like it's a town.
Yeah,
it certainly is a town, and even then it's questionable. So, I mean, they couldn't even film it in Bangor because it wasn't like enough. It wasn't idyllic enough for the way Derry is in the way that with the killer clown alien. So yeah, I think Stephen King would. I would lose my poop, and I think I would take to him a short story. I would say, like, I love Secret Window. It's one of Secret Window, Secret Garden.
That's a great way to go. Pick a short story. I like that.
Yeah. It's not The Stand. It's not It. It's not The Shining. It's not Misery. It's not Cujo or even Shawshank Redemption or The Green Mile. And there is a film, and I also like the film, but I think the story would be that's where I would kick it off. It would be awesome. Do you have a couple like in the back of your brain would be like without really explaining it, but just like, yep, this person too, I would lose it.
Yep. I would say Tom Hanks.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. I figured that might be one you had too.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say Phyllis Coates, who was the first woman on television to play Lois Lane.
Oh, she's still alive?
Still alive, 92 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. My first pick would have been Noelle Neal, but she sadly passed a few years ago.
That's who I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Yep. That's who I was thinking of. Okay. Good choices. I would lose my poop over Michael Keaton. I would lose that. And
you mean you'd get nuts?
I would get nuts. Come on, let's get nuts. He was my 1, 2, 3: George Lucas, Stephen King, Michael Keaton, and I swapped him for Ian McKellen.
Okay.
I'd bring Clean and Sober to him, and along with that, I'd lose I'd lose poop over Tim Burton.
Sure.
Mark Hamill, Ewan McGregor, J.K. Rowling, and one which I wish was on my 3, but I didn't swap it because I didn't think of it in time, is that Dick Van Dyke.
Oh, good one. I was trying to think of somebody from that era, and that's a good one. I mean, I guess technically Julie Andrews is from that same era. They were co-stars. But yeah, that's a great one. I love that. Oh, yeah. Good one there.
I think from a slightly older generation, even like Mel Brooks, I would think a lot of ways I would be able to maintain my cool, but not Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah.
I just couldn't do it.
Same.
I'd give him a hug and tell him that my dad looked exactly like him, and I just like, yeah. When I think of you, I think of I just wouldn't. I would lose it.
Oh yeah. Oh sure.
Mm-hmm. Let's dance.
Who was that? Who was the one you almost wanted to say in place of Stephen King?
Oh, it would have been Dick Van Dyke.
Okay.
Was the one that I almost swapped for.
Okay.
I almost swapped for. And honestly, I think I'd be able to maintain my cool just a little bit more with Stephen King, and Dick Van Dyke, I would lose it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
because also he's old, and so there's also that like awkwardness of like communicating with the elderly, and they can't hear, and you got to repeat yourself something like, and because it's Dick Van Dyke, it would just be all heightened.
Yes.
It's just like an extra version of that. It would be much. Yeah. Lose it. I would lose it.
I heard
All
that.
right. Frank, this was so fun. I'm glad that we participated in this activity where we would just lose our cool, because we're super cool people most of the time.
We are super cool people, always retaining our poop. That is the Beer with Geeks guarantee.
Always retaining our poop. Exactly. All right. Well, Frank, you can find us, as you know, because you're part of the show, at beerwithgeeks.com, Facebook, Gmail, and Twitter. You can rate and review us on iTunes and find out this other places podcasts can be found, because obviously you're listening to us right now. And you can rate and review us on iTunes and patreon.com/thoughtbubble-audio to support the show and to support all of our Thought Bubble Audio shows, which are numerous in number and budgeted for $0. So, right. So, Frank, I wish you the very best in your sickness.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
And also, I hope that you get better from what illness you have.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, got him. Wordplay. All right. Well, Frank, it's always a pleasure. So until next time, cheers.
Cheers.